All right, so imagine this. A day after my 39th birthday, I was sitting there in August 2024, and I thought to myself, I really want to do something before I turn 40. I'm not sure why, maybe this is everybody who goes through a midlife crisis, but I decided I want to take up running. Specifically, I want to run a marathon before I turn 40. I have tried running in the past before. I've never been very consistent with it. I either give up way too early, I don't have the proper routines around it, and I get very, very unmotivated because I'm not running the paces that I want to be running at. So I just kind of stop altogether. So this time for the marathon, I decided I'm going to stick to a training plan, make sure I follow through all the way because I know a marathon 26.2 miles is a huge accomplishment and a huge task to overtake. I cannot just be kind of running here and there and then just stopping. So that is where I found the app Runna. And so today in this video, I want to give you my honest opinions about Runna and what I think of it so far after about 8 to 9 months of use. Do I recommend it for beginners and heavy runners like myself, or do I not? And will I be renewing it? Before we get into the video, I am not a Runna athlete. I am not paid by them. It's not a sponsored video. I paid for the app myself, and all my opinions are my own. I honestly have a major flaw that I have with Runna Plan, which is why I may not be renewing it later on. You guys will have to wait for that later in the video, but if you really do want to jump to it, there are timestamps below. You guys can jump right into the major negative I have for Runna and why I may not be renewing that as my training plan going forward. All right, so let's get into what I liked about Runna first and foremost, and there is quite a lot. Honestly, there are more positives than there are negatives, but there is one major negative that I will get into. Positive-wise, it is absolutely great for beginners. It transitions and it works with you so seamlessly. The app is very, very easy to use, very, very easy to navigate. It's very beginner friendly, especially the Couch to 5K one. You pick how many weeks you want to do it in, how many days a week you can run, and it kind of just settles you into the proper training plan. For me, initially for the 5K, it did a run, walk method, which was perfect. I didn't get demotivated. I kept consistent with it. It was absolutely fantastic. So I enjoy that part a lot. I think it's very, very beginner friendly. Another plus is that it syncs very, very seamlessly with your Apple Watch or any kind of devices you use to record. I haven't done anything with the Android or like the Garmin stuff. I know they also work very, very well with Runna, but I primarily use an Apple Watch and it works absolutely perfectly for it. I like how quick and easy it is to get into an Apple Watch. You can quickly start your workouts, end it. It syncs to your Apple Health, so it actually logs all your activity on there as well. It syncs very, very quickly. So I was very impressed by how good it was integrated within the Apple Watch ecosystem as well. Another positive that I have is when you are setting up your own individualized training plan, you can choose what day of the week you can run, what days are the best for you for long runs, how often can you run during the week. It sets everything up to your personal schedule. So that was why it worked really, really well for me, and probably why I stayed so motivated, because I could create a whole running schedule around when I was available to do my runs. Obviously, when you start off the plan, you have to choose specific days, but you had the flexibility to move around the training dates if you need to. Let's say if you're busy for work that one day and you have a long run plan, you can move that long run to later on in that week if you need to. So that was great. I think being able to be flexible with running is absolutely fantastic as well. And that's what honestly kept me motivated to go and keep pushing my journey. The biggest positive for me though, and this is one of the things that really shocked me about Runna, was how individualized it really is. So when you finish your 5K run, which is what I did initially, which is the free plan, once I finished, I was able to input my 5K time, and when I created my entire journey, it actually had specific time paces for me according to what my 5K was at. And that was amazing. I honestly thought it was going to be one of those where you just kind of like, once you finish the 5K, it was going to just say, okay, here, run at your hardest pace for another mile. No, it was telling you run at 11:30 for this mile, run at 10:45. I've never experienced anything like that. I'm sure there are other programs that are out there that are specific like that, but it really catered to what my results were for the 5K and used that as a way to plan on my entire training plan. So I did my 10K plan with my 5K results, and that was perfect. It was seamless. Then I did my half marathon training plan with my 10K results, and then now I am doing my full marathon with my half marathon results as well. So it was absolutely perfect. Again, everybody's at a different stages in their life. Everyone's at a different paces. So I like the fact that I was able to calculate what my zone 2 should be and what my fast pace should be, and it kind of adjusts as it goes along as well. And that leads into my final positive for Runna is how well it does at adjusting your plan. So if it feels like you're going too fast, let's say it's throwing out programs at you, it's throwing out workouts at you, and you just feel like, okay, I can get through this pretty quickly. It gives you your training effort. It's like, that was hard, but not too bad. It actually will adjust your plan. It'll say that, wow, you're ahead of schedule. Looks like you're doing really, really well. And it'll actually push your plan forward and say, hey, let's get more aggressive. Vice versa, if it feels like you can't keep up with your plan, you're having a hard time staying consistent with your training plan or the paces that it's throwing out there, it will actually tell you, do you want to back off a little bit, maybe take off a few seconds here and there and maybe adjust your training plan. It will give you that. So it kind of tracks how you're doing, what your intensity is, how you're feeling on each run, and kind of uses the algorithm to see, okay, maybe this person is doing really, really well. Let's get them faster, or maybe they're struggling here. Let's back off a little bit. And I think that it does a really good job of doing that as well. And one more positive that I think is great for beginners, specifically like myself at that time, was how good it is around giving you different types of workouts. So if you would have asked me when I was doing my marathon journey or starting my marathon journey, I probably would have said, oh, I'm just going to run, maybe like 3 miles one day, 4 miles the next day, see how I can go and just rack my mileage up. But that would be fine, but I may not have seen the results that I'm seeing now because I may have forgotten to add in the speed workouts or the recovery workouts or the tempo runs. Like, there are so many different workouts that I did not know as a beginner. I just thought running is running and you just kind of go as fast as you can. This does a really good job of saying, hey, let's go zone 2 today. Hey, let's go a little bit faster today. Let's do a long run, but let's do a tempo pace in between. Like, those are the stuff that I never would have done if I was a beginner. I would have just kind of winged it. So I like the fact that it adds different variety of workouts so you can get used to them. Also really helps with your overall speed. I think that's a really, really big positive for beginners. So what did I not like about Runna? There are 3 things, 2 that are kind of minor-ish, and 1 that's a major one. So one of the things is that it doesn't sync too well with treadmills. I know this may not be in Runna's, part of their scope of control. I just wish there was a little bit better way of tracking treadmill runs. What I have noticed is that it connects to some treadmills, it doesn't connect to many of them. It also doesn't do a good job of knowing whether or not what your intensity is during that time, because it doesn't track your heart rate. So for example, when I run outside and I'm doing an outdoor run, it will track my heart rate. It knows where my pace is at, or knows where my cadence is at. But when I'm doing a treadmill run, it doesn't sync to my heart rate for some reason. I'm not sure why. I wish it did that, just so I know, okay, if I'm doing a zone 2 run on a treadmill, am I staying in that zone? I would have to manually track it on my Apple Watch. Whereas when you're doing an outdoor run, it's automatically already there. So another negative is that it is expensive. So as I mentioned, the Couch 5K plan is free. And so that was perfectly fine. You can get a 2-week promo code coupon from any influencer, and that gives you 2 weeks of free of the personalized features. But after that, it does get kind of expensive. So if you do a monthly plan, it goes up to $20 per month, or you can buy the yearly plan, which is what I did. And that's $120 for a year. So you save about half off if you buy the full year. So they do lock off the feature of seeing what your runs will look like for the rest of your training plan. So for example, I started off my marathon training plan. It's a 25-week marathon training plan. When I had the monthly plan initially, it would only show me month by month. So it would give me a 4 weeks out training plan and say, hey, in the next 4 weeks, this is what you're doing. If I wanted to see beyond that, it wouldn't let you. It would actually block it out and say you have to buy the annual plan. I understand why they do that. That's because obviously they don't want somebody to just buy a monthly plan and they get a whole, year training plan, or rather the whole 25-week training plan for marathon, and then just copy and paste, and then you just cancel your subscription. I get that's why they did it. And that's why they kind of put it behind a paywall. I just wish that there was some other way that you can see your training plans, just so you can kind of prepare yourself. Like if I was going month to month, If I had to plan out my next couple months, I can't do that with the run and train plan, which is why I felt like I had to buy the full year, and which I did. And I'm glad I did that because it is significantly cheaper, obviously, in the long run. And that way you just kind of commit to it and you're good to go. And so once I was able to do that, I could look at my entire training plan, move stuff around because I knew I'm traveling this week, I have work this day, whatever it is, and I can switch it around. All right, so let's get into the major flaw that I have of the Runna app. That is around its algorithm and how it calculates things. So as I mentioned before, it tracks your progress. It knows whether you're having a hard time or a rough time. It kind of goes up and down a lot, right? And it adjusts your plan accordingly. What I've found is that sometimes it's a little too aggressive. Like, for example, I would be doing a fast pace of about 10 minutes per mile, right? And it's like, okay, do that for a mile. And I'm dying. I put on my thing that this was a very tough workout. And then next week, all of a sudden, it's 9:15. And there have been workouts, especially recently, where I just cannot get through to them. I'm just so tired and they're so difficult for me. It's calculating it, but it's just being super aggressive with it. It took about a week and a half, and then the plan finally says, you're struggling, let's back off a little bit. And I think it's backed off to the place that I think it should be at. But I just found that really, really weird that it's just so aggressive with it. Another thing that's aggressive with is also your zone 2. It continuously increases your zone 2 expectations. I know on there it has a disclaimer that, this is just a suggestion. Don't run at this pace. Run at what feels comfortable. But I just feel like they keep upping it ever so quickly. So when I first started my training plan, my zone 2 was around 13 minutes per mile. And that's totally fine and works well. All of a sudden, it went up to 12 minutes per mile after a few weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm pushing it, but I still feel good. So zone 2, 12 minutes per mile is great. But now it's saying my zone 2 should be at 11:05, which is actually faster than my marathon pace. So that didn't make sense to me. So my marathon pace is 11:30 and it's saying my zone 2 is 11:05. I'm not sure how it's calculating that. I can't run 11:05 for however long it wants me to do it. So I've been running at 12 minutes and just kind of staying well over there. And again, it does say on there, do not run faster than 11:05. This is a suggestion. I just don't understand why it thinks that my zone 2 is faster than my tempo pace for my marathon. It's a weird concept to me, honestly, because if I could run a zone 2 for 26 miles, then that should be my tempo and my marathon expectations, right? It was, instead of being at 11:30, it should be 11:05, but it's not. So that's where I think it's causing a lot of issues for me, especially recently. I found this a lot more. And I'm not sure if it's just because I'm not quite fast enough. I feel like Runna also overestimates how fast I should be for my races. So every single race that I've done, 5K, my 10K, and my half marathon so far, it's estimated for me to finish a lot faster than I actually did. My 5K expected me to finish within, I think, 34 minutes or 33 minutes, and I did it at 36 minutes at that time. My 10K, I thought I would get it within an hour and 5, and I got it within an hour and 12, I think. And my half marathon, I thought I should be able to do it within 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I did it in 2 hours and 35 minutes. So it's just overestimating what it thinks I should be able to do, and I'm just not sure how it's calculating that. But it is significantly off, which, as you know, a beginner, it could be a little bit of a downer. You're like, oh, I'm so fast, I can finish my half marathon within 2 hours and some change. But then when you're out there, you're like, I'm not ready for this. I don't feel comfortable at all. This is not good for me. It's not working for me. And it just consistently been one of those things where I just overestimating what I should be able to run at. And apparently, I'm not the only one. I've seen a lot of reviews for Runna, and it is one of the apps that does overestimate how quickly you can get things done. So I think that's something that they really need to revisit because, again, they do overestimate it. But that is the major flaw that I found, especially recently in my marathon plan. It's something that I really feel like, you know what, I don't know if this is quite working for me or if I'm just not putting the effort quite enough, but it's really thinking that I should be a lot faster than I really am. And there are some days where I just, or even some workouts where I just not even do the cool down. I'm just like, you know what, forget it. It's not working for me. I'm struggling way too much with this. I just end my workout early and consider it done. So what are some alternatives to Runna? Obviously there is a Nike Run Club. I have tried that before. Not the biggest fan of it, honestly. I just thought the coaches talk a little too much. They get in the way. It's not personalized like how Runna is. I know their Couch to 5K was similar to what Runna is, but I just felt like it just never integrated really, really well with what I'm trying to do. So that's why I didn't really use that as my primary training platform. Another one is that's very, very popular is Garmin Connect, which is a feature as a part of having a Garmin watch. And that's something that, where you buy the watch, you get a free Garmin Connect, and it's the same thing. It bases your training off of your races and gives you specific workouts. It also tracks how you are recovering. So if you are tired that day, if it noticed your sleep was off, it'll actually tell you don't run today, recover, get your body proper rest. I think that's something that runners should incorporate. There are other apps that I use that are part of the Apple ecosystem which help with that. And that's what I use to see if I'm ready to train that day. But Runna doesn't have anything specifically like that, which I think Garmin Connect is pretty cool that they do have something integrated within their system. Another one that's probably the cheapest option, honestly, is getting one of those influencers, running plan PDFs. I've seen them anywhere. They're like anywhere from $10 to $15, and they kind of plan out an entire, like, if you run a sub-4 marathon, here's what you do for 12 weeks. Like, it's not personalized again, but it is out there. Maybe if you are somebody who already knows your pace, you're very experienced with training and all that kind of stuff, probably the best way to go, honestly, is probably the cheapest option, because you can say, hey, I can run that pace, I can do this, and I can do a sub-4. Probably a good option for you. But if you're just starting out, I'm not sure that's going to help you a lot. Just because, again, you need to know what your paces are. You need to kind of find yourself in your running, if that makes sense, versus someone just saying, hey, run a 10-minute mile, and you're like, I can barely run 12 right now. So that's something that I wouldn't recommend for beginners, but probably a good idea for more advanced or expert runners. I already kind of answered this question. Will I be renewing my Runna plan? No, I will be trying out something else. I wouldn't say I'm not going to be coming back to Runna. I just want to kind of explore and see what's out there. Now that I've become a little bit better at running and also getting more consistent, I feel more comfortable running. I want to see what else is out there, see what I can try. So my next step that I will be doing is probably going to be the Garmin Connect. I will probably buy a watch. I think maybe having a dedicated running watch will also continue to help me. And I think that recovery thing is very, very important. Now I want to try and see if that's going to be something that's helpful for me, because I do notice that some days I'm not properly recovered. I go out there and just completely lay an egg in my workout. So maybe having some way of knowing that, hey, my sleep was not good. Maybe I'm not feeling well today. Let's just not run. I think that's something I may need. So I will try the Garmin Connect next, and then I'll try maybe a couple other things after that. And then I'll kind of evaluate and see which one I like the best. And I may come back to Runna if I feel like it's the best one. But I just want to kind of see what's out there as well. So there you have it, my raw and unfiltered thoughts on Runna plans so far. My annual plan does expire in October of this year. I still do plan on finishing up my training plan for my marathon, and my marathon is scheduled to be in August of this year as well. And so I will give you my thoughts, maybe if you guys are wanting my full thoughts on the Runna plan as far as the full marathon journey. It is estimating my time for my marathon to be around 4 hours 50 minutes to 5 hours 10. I do think it's a little bit ambitious. Like I said, it's been overestimating what I think I should be able to run at. I'm going to keep trying, and hopefully I can stick to the pace that is asking me to do it at. But if you guys are wanting, I can do a full review of Runna afterwards. Just let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know in the comments, what have you guys tried? I think it's really important as a community we share what we are trying and what's working for us. As I mentioned, Runna has been working so far, but I do want to see what else is out there. So please let me know in the comments below, what have you tried? Do you guys recommend, if you have tried the Garmin Connect, is that worth it for me? I will obviously be reading all of those as well. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video.